Folks, have you seen the NASDAQ 100 or NVIDIA this morning? It looks like China's release of their AI model, DeepSeek, has sent off an earthquake across the Silicon Valley. We're going to dig into that a little bit. We're going to talk about why it is unique. We are going to talk about what some analysts are saying. We'll talk about new home sales. We'll talk about the 10-year note. Talk about something going on with the average agent in real estate, that and more in the daily financial news. So let's go and talk about DeepSeek. First thing to point out is the All In podcast and crew have been talking about this for about a week or so, but it has clearly hit the mainstream and the tech industry. The NASDAQ 100 and NVIDIA is taking it on the chin. So I've combed through many different articles about what it is, why it's unique. Is it really a thing, or is this just vaporware? So let's get into what I have read, and then we'll talk about what some analysts are saying. First and foremost, this China AI model, DeepSeek, is currently threatening U.S. dominance in AI. They've actually attacked the AI model kind of differently. The U.S. model, near as I can tell, tries to be a doctor, a lawyer, an engineer, and an accountant, all wrapped into one. Hence the need for large data centers, large, advanced clusters, and it's very expensive. It's very expensive to train a single entity to be a doctor, a lawyer, so on and so forth. One of the things that is a unique component of DeepSeek is it took a different tact. It took a different engineering path. And instead of having a single entity be all of those things, they have created what is called an expert system. Basically, there is an expert engineer, there is an expert lawyer, there is an expert accountant. And why that is unique is the experts that are not needed are frankly sitting in the background. They are not consuming compute. They are not consuming power. So it is an ingenious model. And frankly, there's not much. This is open source. That's the other thing that's wild about this. This is open source. So you can imagine there will be a lot of folks, forking their code to go after it because it does take less compute, less power, less clusters, less everything. So that was interesting. Next up, the cost of using the platform is cheaper. It is estimated as of yesterday, could have changed today, ChatGPT, it is 96% cheaper than ChatGPT. This is going to hurt OpenAI valuation, I would think, in very quick order. For example, what I read is OpenAI costs $60 per 1 million output tokens. DeepSeek costs $2.19 per 1 million output tokens. That is a lot less, 96% less. What is also interesting is it looks like ChatGPT and a lot of the US models tries to be perfect. What do I mean by that? When you think about, decimal places of perfection, right? 99 point blah, blah, blah. It looks like in the US models, we are trying to go out to the 37th decimal, right? 99.999999, 37 times out there. It appears that DeepSeek says, you know what? We don't need to go out 37 decimal points. 8 decimal points is enough. Again, an interesting model. The other thing that's interesting about the DeepSeek model, again, if you believe what we are reading, is that it is using gaming chips, gaming GPUs. If you guys don't know, we are under export control. They are not allowed to have advanced NVIDIA chips. Now, it is clearly possible that they somehow got them via backdoor relationships and all of that. We should never forget that China is not above breaking rules. But again, if we believe what is written, it's at least interesting to think about. They have done this on gaming GPUs, not the most advanced $40,000 GPUs from NVIDIA. The other thing to think about is the power need. One of the things that we've been harping on, or I've been harping on for a while, is we need more power. In fact, I think one of the executive orders was to spin up more data centers and power and all of that. But now, with this new, more efficient model, it's possible that we have overestimated power needs. Interesting. Constellation Energy and others might be feeling the impact of this. At the end of the day, I think there's a couple of things that we have to talk about. One is the engineering. It appears, again, this is open source, so you can go look at the code if that's where your skill set is. There are interesting and revolutionary concepts like the expert model. It just makes perfect sense to me. Why do we have to have one expert above all? Instead, why don't we train, again, the doctor, the lawyer, the accountant, the engineer, and then only use them when appropriate based on the question or query? Second, what is really interesting when you think about it is, right, I don't know what the numbers are, but, Meta's, Facebook has spent, I don't know, 100 billion, Microsoft and, ChatGPT and that crew spent hundreds of billions of dollars. And I wonder, what I think you have to ask yourself if you're looking at the NASDAQ 100 and stocks today is, long term, will this be net positive or net negative for NVIDIA? And I think that's a worthy conversation, because I know that NVIDIA is taking it on the chin today, and they probably should, because people are like, hey, we don't need all these clusters. Your demand is gone, yada, yada, yada. But if you look at NVIDIA, book of business, they were like selling to like 7 people, 10 people. Now, those 10 people were buying everything they had and more. Their, future inventory was spoken for. But what happens if DeepSeek from China is what it says it is? Instead of having to get into something for $100 billion, if you could get in for 10 million, what does that really do? Well, it actually might allow more entrants, because today you can't compete with Google, Meta, Microsoft, all of those. But maybe at 10 million bucks you can. Maybe at 10 million bucks a model, you can become the best pharmacist or the best realtor or the best whatever, right? If you really break down this expert system to its core, there actually might be more people competing, which, again, more competition equals typically better competition and cheaper. So it'll be interesting to see where China DeepSeek goes. It'll be interesting to see the bloodbath. It looks like NVIDIA is on record to have the worst day they've ever had. It's something like a loss of 400 billion in market cap. It's going to be a bloody day, but it is interesting to look at. So what are some analysts saying? I got a whole list of analyst reactions. Now, typically I don't read these because analysts have their book of business. But given the sudden and dramatic drop this morning, I did go out and get, I found 6 analysts who released notes this morning. So these are my quick thoughts on them. JP Morgan, AI investment cycle might be overhyped. I think you're seeing a lot of that reaction this morning. How about Jefferies? We've reduced our 2026 AI CapEx spend. What do you think about that, right? Less NVIDIA, less data centers, all of that. Now we got Bernstein, quote unquote, panic is overblown. Now, again, we got to remember with analysts, they have a book of business. They could be talking their book, all of those things. It's just interesting to look at who's on which side of this. Citi acknowledges that It's funny. My phone thought I said Siri. I said City. City acknowledges challenge to U.S. dominance in AI. I think that's fair. And again, you create a better mousetrap. It's open source. It will be interesting. The one thing that's really interesting to me, I saw another note this morning that DeepSeek is the #1 app on the app stores. Does anybody think that China might have some software in there that might want to read up on your computer or phone? You got to remember, they don't necessarily play by the same rules that we do. I'm just saying. Raymond James, if DeepSeek innovates are adopted, training costs will be reduced. Again, big hit to NVIDIA and others. Finally, Cantor could increase demand for GPUs as more players enter the market. Again, this is the idea that, the pie was being divided up by 7 or 8 players. Now we might have 700 or 800 players. So again, some interesting stuff to think about. Let's talk about new home sales. We did get new home sales data on Friday. We got existing homes. New home sales up. Came in at 698,000. Estimate was for 671. Last month was 664. Again, folks, we are seeing pace over profit. Pace over profit. Sales were up 3.6%. Median price was 427. That is up 2.1% year on year from 418. Again, new home sales pace over profit. You've heard me say it before, and I'll say it again. There are only 2 winners in the U.S. housing market in 2025. It is home builders who figure out how to be profitable building smaller homes, and investors like you and I who have a buy box, a focus, write disrespectful offers, use creative financing, use the 50-40-10 to take down apartment buildings, whatever it is. Investors who do the work, get creative, write lots of offers, and follow up a lot will win in 2025. I am so excited about that. We did have 2 folks join school in the last 24 hours. I want to thank Todd and Charles for joining school. Please join school. It is 365 amazing folks going the same direction. 6 different accountability or masterminds you could join weekly. Thousands of dollars in free education. It is the place to go if you have any seriousness. Again, folks, we've kept the price stupid low at 67 cents a day. Go to school.com, join, introduce yourself. Let's have some fun. Next up, let's talk about our Vegas event. I can turn off ticket sales this Friday. Ticket sales will be off Friday no matter what happens. So if you are coming to the event, buy your tickets. You only have a couple of days left. I will turn them off so I don't have to think about it anymore. Ticket sales stop Friday. We have 34 seats left. 2 of those are VIP. So I hope you get your ticket. I hope I see you there. I will be very thankful not to be talking about this anymore so I can focus on the event for February. So again, go get your tickets. Chester, yes, DeepSeek is a black swan. It did seemingly come out of nowhere. It is going to be interesting to see where the market goes from here. Something I read about agents. I don't know if this is true, but it certainly seemed that way. 71% of licensed agents, 71, did not sell a deal, did not close a deal in 2024. And if you know what I think 2025 is worse. This is why I think we're going to see a wave of folks leaving the business. It's that 4th and final hard year, just like the early 80s. And it is frankly why 2026 will be better than 2025, because if you can hold on, you can survive. It's like going to be going to a Las Vegas buffet and no one else is there. You are going to have the pick of your deals. We did get some earnings this morning. It is a rough day in the market, but AT&T did beat top line, bottom line. SoFi beat top line, bottom line, but gave weak guidance. So I'm going to guess SoFi's taking it on the chin. I have not looked. MicroStrategies came out and said they bought another 10,000 Bitcoin. I mean, do they ever stop? I mean, does MicroStrategies want all the Bitcoin? Another 10,000 on top of what they own. And then finally, if you want lower rates, congratulations. You got it. The 10-year note, in reaction to what is going on in the AI bubble, is down significantly. We might see mortgage rates dip below 7%. We'll check later in the day, but yeah, it's a pretty violent move down as folks seek safety. And then lastly, I don't know if you saw what happened in 24 hours, but the U.S. was trying to deport criminals to Colombia. Colombia said no. Then Trump did his thing, tariffs, this, that, the other. Then Colombia said, whoops, no, we'll take them back. We'll send our presidential plane to go get them. So in the span of about 12 to 18 hours, Trump has shown the power of tariffs, the power of threats, and they have now resolved the disagreement, which again, you have to feel is a good thing. We are taking criminals and sending them back to their home country. Yes, there was a moment in time where your coffee and flowers might have become more expensive. But again, you got to remember, the tariff is a tool, a threat, a hammer. And again, Colombia wants to keep selling coffee and flowers to the U.S. So it worked. It worked. And that's what I got for today. Again, folks, if you're still watching, do me a favor, please subscribe. We are trying to march towards 70,000 subs. I would love to get there sooner rather than later on the path to 100. So a quick subscription would be great. Also, don't forget to pound that thumbs up or like button. It does help the YouTube algorithm. And also, if you just want to say hi in the comments, go for it. If we can get the comments spinning up, maybe that will bring more people into the mix. Have a great day. Please smile. Smile. Just smile. Later.